So, this year I've been participating in Art Fight, which is art trading but competitive, Team Spice for the win. Browsing under the random character option, I have to check the description to see how they act for proper expressions of body language if I want to draw said character. And then I get an essay's worth of backstory that I simply do not care about. Why is it so long? Can I draw them with a kitty or not? I've seen similar problems on DeviantArt and reference sheets in general, if not on the other side of the spectrum of this paragraph-long problem. So it has persuaded me enough to sit down and remind you all that you need to first assume that people are stupid and have the shortest attention spans possible, along with other points to make me want to read about your character. I don't think this is a wholly original idea, I'm not going to pretend it is. I believe the first thing that comes to mind is I think that Solar Sands mentioned this in a video. Also, I have not been animating, so I have no new content for you other than this. Also, if you've not checked my community tab, which I'm just assuming nobody does, I'm developing a comic to be published on Webtoon and maybe Tapastic too, but I have no idea yet. Anyway, yeah, I'm making a comic. I've been working on that. So for a reference sheet and an about page for a character, if it's simply made to be drawn and not read, it's kind of like crossing a point between showing a character design and trying to pitch your story, which are two things that are not inherently the same and usually are not intertwined. But we do that now. My first point that I've written down is be concise, which just basically means I don't want a paragraph. Get to the point, make me care. You ever hear of an elevator speech? You gotta tell me before the elevator reaches 2 floors. So hurry it up. Here, I'll read you an example. Counter is more bold and vulgar than her twin Lucy, also more impulsive, much more self-assured, and haughty to some degrees. She has strong opinions and is rarely swayed. That's it. That's all you need to know about Counter in order to draw her. She's not a sweet, innocent, uwu person, she's much more gritty. That's all you need to know. I'm not gonna try to tell you anything else, because you don't need to know anything else if you're just gonna draw her for Art Fight. Or for a more broad spectrum, not just Art Fight or DeviantArt, I shouldn't even have to tell you this, because you can see it for yourself in my comic. It's been really tempting to just put in some quick, like, this is who this person is, they're from this story, this is their personality traits, before jumping into actual scenes with them. But then I'm trying to hold back on that because I shouldn't have to do that. If I am a good writer, then you can see that on your own. You're big boys, I don't have to spoon feed you information. But you also have a short attention span, so I gotta make it interesting. If I'm just trying to glean what kind of personality that they have, there really shouldn't be any mention of where they come from, unless that like directly influences their personality. For example, for Art Fight, I wrote in Desmond's bio that he's more sensitive because of what he came from. He's the protagonist of a tragedy. That is something important to mention, just as an explanation to give you an idea of the degree of this. Protagonist of a tragedy. Do you know what happens to the protagonist of a tragedy? They die at the end. My next point is be tasteful. Now, if I wanted to be clear and concise, instead of just writing a short description, I could have just put bullet points. But I don't like doing that because it's so bland and uninteresting. It gets to the point, yes, but it's not interesting. You can be short and descriptive at the same time. Like, when I see characters that just get likes and dislikes, it makes them seem very cookie cutter and two-dimensional. So I'd much rather encourage a short description rather than just likes and dislikes and bullet point traits, because humans are much more complex than that. It's always like, they're this, but, and then it mixes in with this. Like what I wrote down for Lucy here. Lucy is overall very sweet and does her best to be kind, but this can go to a point of naivety or a spiral from horrible overthinking. So yeah, essentially what I'm trying to say is assume your viewers are babies, but like boss babies, intellectual babies that have good taste. So you can lose their attention very quickly, but you also just still need to be interesting. I've already kind of talked about this, but my next point just says shut up. What I mean is, you need to shut up and let your character do the talking themselves. Because if they're a good character, they can stand on their own 2 legs and do their own thing. You don't need to hold their hand. Like, I should be able to see what kind of personality you have based off, like, sometimes there's an inventory in a ref sheet. What kind of items they have, I should be able to discern their personality. What is their expression? What kind of clothes do they wear? How are they even standing in said reference sheet? What kind of colors are there? Is it mostly warmer colors? Is it like cooler colors? How saturated are those colors? what is their body type? Do they have sharp features? Are they more rounded out? If they're talking, what are they saying? How do they say it? Are they very eloquent in how they put their speech? Or do they sound like they're from the ghetto? Now that I'm like actually sitting down and rambling into a microphone, which apparently some people like, is really just a loss of traditional character design and like the basics, because this art community has gone strewn into so much of a weird culture, and there's a lot of weird habits and just stuff that's accepted as part of this culture. Like, if I try to explain adoptables to someone who's never heard of them, it sounds really weird. Also, since like OC has become such a buzzword, just designing a character has never really, before in history, been attached to some vocabulary term like OC. Art style has become such a buzzword. Oh, I love your art style. Aesthetic has become such a buzzword. Aesthetic is a noun, by the way. Aesthetically pleasing is an adjective. You can't just say your art is so aesthetic. That doesn't mean anything. It really bothers me. So yeah, that's kind of weird. It might be something for a separate day. I just felt like sitting down and rambling, because I've been doing a lot of drawing lately and I just need to sit down and talk. I guess what's also made me realize this is me working on Lucy Sue's Dollhouse. Oh my god, shut up about Lucy Sue's Dollhouse. No, read it. It's not out yet. Read it. Because the whole point of that is a commentary on this art community by humanizing these characters that are in it. And then I realized a lot of stuff is weird. Like, I'm gonna use the Adoptables example again. It's just like, if you materialize that into like a storefront, where it's just like, the mannequins are just stuck standing there, but they're actual humans with thoughts and feelings. It's really weird. I've gotten way off track and now I'm just inflating my ego with my comic. So sorry. Yeah, I needed a stress reliever. So thank you. If you do end up watching this, thank you. And I'll see you somewhere. Probably gonna drop off the face of the earth for a bit to finish this comic. Thank you.